What's going on, everybody? My name's Paul. Thank you for joining me here at All In today. So, first off, what's been going on, guys? I know I've been away for a while. I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time. I was honestly trying to figure out the best way to do it. Because, 2019's gone. We're into 2020 now. But I did want to talk about, my top games and my bottom games, but I honestly could not find 10 games that I just loved, and I could not find 10 games that I just hated. um, 2019, as far as gaming goes, kind of was just a year. It was the last year of the generation, pretty much, like, because we have the PS5 and the Xbox One, or the Xbox Series X, whatever the next Xbox is called. We have that coming out at the end of 2020, so 2019 is kind of the last hurrah. Normally, at the end of a life cycle, you have your best games coming out. You have your God of Wars for your PS2, you have your Last of Us for PS3. I mean, you really just have your heavy hitters, and I don't feel like 2019 really had that, except for like one or two games. Now, one or two of these games are my absolute favorite games that came out this generation, so I can't say that 2019 was an absolute wash. It just wasn't as great as I kind of wanted it to be, maybe even anticipated it to be. Um, so yeah, I guess that's kind of a little disappointing, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to 2020. So this video isn't going to be my top 10, favorite and my bottom 10 of the year. This is actually going to be a mix of both. It's going to be my top 5 and my bottom 5. Of course, the bottom 5 being my most disappointing games. My top 5 is being the best games of 2019 to me. The reason I wanted to do that is because I have a lot of games on my list on the bottom and even on the top that don't really match up with other lists. Some do, but not all of them. And one of the reasons it took me so long to make this is because I didn't want people to think that I was just being a contrarian or trying to be different. This is truly how I felt, and I hope by merging the list together and explaining why these are in my bottom and these are in my top, even though they may have similar themes, I hopefully, like, even if you don't agree with me, you'll at least understand why I chose these games. And just to kind of move any confusion out of the way, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting at number 5, of each list. So we're going to start up of the 5th most disappointing game, and then we're going to move on to the 5th best game of the year, and then we're going to go 4, 3, 2 till we get to my very worst game of the year and very best game of the year. You don't want to start with the showstoppers. You know what I mean? So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into it though. So we're gonna start with the 5th most disappointing game of the year, and for me, that is Blair Witch. This game actually got pretty good reviews, and I saw a lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers playing this game, and they really seemed to enjoy it. Some of them even got scared, and I actually had some people that wanted me to stream this game, and I did. They wanted me to make YouTube videos of it, and I tried to. If you go back and you look, you'll see that I gave it my best. I even watched. I love Blair Witch as a series. Blair Witch Project 1 is one of my favorite horror movies. I'm a huge horror nerd. I think the first one was super good. The second one was, we pretend that didn't exist. And then the one from, I think it was 2016. It was either 2016 or 2017. The supposed real sequel. I thought that one was actually pretty good. So I went back and watched all that, getting ready for this game. It's even free on Xbox Game Pass. I'm like, I don't even have to pay for this game. This is a free Blair Witch game that people are really hyping up. You got this cute dog with you. It's everything that I want. Boy, the worst thing that a horror game can be is unscary. This game was so not terrifying and just so boring, so bland. And that's really a killer for a horror game. You don't want that. You want your horror, you want to be tense the entire time. That's a reason that I actually like for my horror games to be kind of short, because I don't want to be, it to be intense for too long. I want it, my horror, I need it to get in, get out. You know what I mean? I don't want it to overstay its welcome. First off, I felt like this game was entirely too long. I felt like this game had way too much padding. And it also dealt with something that to me is just not that scary. And it may be because it's something that I haven't had to deal with. But for most of the game, you're dealing with PTSD. So your horror comes in from flashbacks of when you were in a war. And I'm not saying that's not scary. I'm not trying to detract from that at all. I'm just saying for me, that's not scary. And also kind of has nothing to do with Blair Witch. Blair Witch was never about that. It was about, something that was in the woods that's haunting these people. And I understand that the Blair Witch is using this person's horror against them. I just don't feel like it was really done that well, in my opinion. And it just was not scary. It just, at no point did I mean, I guess I felt some tension sometimes, but like most of the monsters that you see, like these you have these leaves everywhere, and there's these leaf piles that just move around, and they're supposed to be scary. It just, man, it was just super disappointing. Every time you had the flashback, and I had to make it through like these helicopters overhead, like, bombing the place and stuff like that. I was just like, okay, this isn't scary to me. This isn't really doing anything for me. This isn't pushing the needle one way or the other. And again, it might be scary for some people. It really was not for me, and it wasn't what I wanted, what I expected. And so seeing everybody, oh, this game is actually really good, this game's actually really scary, the lead up to this, it just was really disappointing. Plus, this is made by Blooper. If I'm remembered correctly, this is the people that did Layers of Fear. I have actually a full playthrough of that game. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a horror game that did it correctly. So I know this is a team that knows what they're doing. It's just I don't feel like they really knocked this one out of the park. And for me, because I am such a big fan of Blair Witch, that's why it's number 5 on my list for most disappointing games. I think it could have been so much better than what it was, and it really it was a drag, honestly. But let's not delve on that into too much more into that, or dwell on it too much. Let's move on to my top. In my top category, number 5 is Man of Madan. So this is a horror game that does it correctly. Man of Madan is made by the people who did the Until Dawn game. I don't know if you remember that, but it was an early PS4 game. It might have been on other things, but I know it from PS4. And they had so much to live up to, because Until Dawn was such a fantastic game. They had so much to live up to that I thought for sure that Man of Medan was going to fail. They're also turning it into a horror anthology, which means Man of Medan is a little bit shorter than Until Dawn was, because they're going to have a bunch of shorter stories that they're going to do in this anthology of horror. This is the first chapter of it. Man of Medan is about this group of like 5 or 6 characters that is on this boat, and this haunted boat, and they're trying to figure out, what's going on. They were out like doing some deep sea diving, and they come across this boat because they were pretty much chased onto there by pirates. This is an old World War II vessel. You've seen Ghost Ship, you know what this is. But the thing that this studio does so well is they take a horror trope that is well known, and they do it right. Like they make it kind of better, because it's not too cheesy. They really ride that line just right. Little bit of cheese, little bit of seriousness, a little bit of funny, very scary. They really know how to ride this line. And the big thing about Man of Medan that I really loved is you could play this whole game in co-op. They have couch co-op so that you can pass the controllers back and forth, or they have online co-op between 2 people, which me and my buddy Kyle played. So when you're playing co-op online, you two are seeing very different things in this story. So because he's seeing something that I am not. So that gives it actually some replay value, so that we can switch sides and you can be like, oh, okay, so I see this now from his perspective. This is why he made these decisions. Because like you're not both making these decisions together for the most part. He's making his choices, I'm making my choices, and they could either help each other or screw each other over. And that was just so well done. That's something that I definitely hope they bring back for all of these anthology of horror games, because Man of Medan just did it so correctly. which would have been so easy to mess that up. Truly, it would have been so easy to mess that up, because like it's a lot of spinning plates. You know what I mean? We've had other games that do it wrong. Another game is called A Way Out for that type of co-op. Look it up. Not a big fan. Man of Madan is something that did it right, and it didn't overstay its welcome. It's like maybe 3 hours long. Me and him played through it in one stream, like one full sitting, and that's again how I like my horror games. I don't like it to be too long. So a nice 3 hour, that's like a long movie, and it was intense the whole way through. I like the twist that it had. It was just horror done right. And there's so many horror games that do it incorrectly or mess everything up. It was just nice to see this do it correctly, and I can't praise it enough. If you've not played Man of Medan, it's like you can find it for like $20. You and a friend, it's just a great Saturday night. Like again, you can get through it in 3 hours, but there's collectibles and all this other stuff that you can do. I actually snuck away as one of the characters, and so that character isn't through the whole game. That character's gone. Your characters can die off. Like the story is just can go so many different ways, and it really is crazy how they did it. And it's just I loved it. I can't recommend Man of Medan enough, and that's why it's number 5 at my top games of 2019. So let's go back to the bottom of 2019. So this might get me some hate. So number 4 on my most disappointing list is Jedi: The Fallen Order. I know. Some people are saying that this is the best Star Wars game that's ever been made. Some people are saying this is the best Star Wars game that has been made in a long time. We finally have this single player narrative where we've got no loot boxes. It's not Battlefront 2 where the EA is just screwing us over. This is EA giving Respawn, the people who did Titanfall and the original makers of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, a great studio. They're giving them Star Wars and letting them make a game. Sounds good. For me, did not turn out correct. Like it just didn't turn out great. It needed like 6 months more in the pressure cooker because there was just so many issues with this game that I believe could have been alleviated or fixed if they had just spent more time on it. You know what I mean? I felt like they were rushing this game out to get it done in time for the new Star Wars movie, episode 9 or whatever we're up to. I feel like they were like, okay, this movie's about to come out, put out Jedi. We're not quite done with it yet. It doesn't matter, put it out. Like, it's got to go now. Jedi, The Last Skywalker's coming out. We need this out now. This has to be out now while the buzz is big. And they're like, okay. And there's a good skeleton. Like there's a good skeleton on this to where like you can see how this is going to be good, but they kind of just took a bunch of other games and mashed it into one. You got your Dark Souls, you got your Metroidvania type games, your Star Wars games, and they tried to mash it all together, but it doesn't work for me. Like it just makes the game boring. Like there's no way that a stormtrooper should take so many hits with a lightsaber. At no point do I feel powerful. I put 9 hours into this game. I didn't finish it, and I understand that it gets better as you go, but if I put 9 hours into a game and I'm not having fun, I don't want to keep going. I shouldn't have to get past that, because every friend that I talked to that played it, they were like, well, you just got to unlock this. You just got to unlock this. And I was like, how long did it take you to unlock this? He's like, well, you had to get a couple worlds in, about 10 hours, something like that. 10 hours is too long. The game is like 15, 16 hours, maybe 20 hours tops. Like, I don't want to spend over half the game until it starts really getting good for me. It's just, and it was so buggy. It's one of the, and it's also like Uncharted. So you're having to make these jumps, and sometimes you'll fall straight through the world. Like there are these pipes that you have to walk along, but the hit detection is so bad on these pipes that you'll just fall through them. And it's just, it doesn't have that polish that, you expect from your Uncharted. It doesn't have that, the fighting polish that you expect from your From Software games, your Dark Souls that you're ripping off. It doesn't, and as far as the exploration goes, the only thing you're finding is cosmetics. There's only, out of 100 and something chests that there's only 8 chests that actually give you upgrades. All the other 100 is just like ponchos and paint and like paint schemes and stuff like that. It's totally pointless. Like there's absolutely no reason to go off and discover new, because in Metroid you're getting like new health tanks, you're getting new missile tanks, you're getting new, you're getting all this new stuff to make your character better. In this game you're not, you're just, I'm getting these stupid ponchos that all look stupid, like just dumb, and that I don't want to use. So like every step of the way, Jedi the Fallen Order is just so disappointing. And it just feels like people are so starved for a good Star Wars game that anything that's just like a little crumb is like, oh well, this is great, we'll take this. They took out the microtransactions, so we have to praise this game. No, if it's just not a good game and you're kind of having to make yourself play through most of the game, that means it's not a good game. You should be enjoying it the entire way through. You shouldn't have to put 10 hours into the game before you really start enjoying it, especially when it's not that big of a game. It's really only 20 hours. You're over halfway through before you're like, you know what? Now I'm really enjoying this game. Now this is a good game. That just doesn't work. That doesn't work for me, and it's not. And I don't like the idea of, well, it's not as bad as it could have been, so let's give it 9s out of 10s. Okay, well, this is a Star Wars game that it's better than it used to be, so like all these reviewers are like, let's give it a 9 out of 10. It's Star Wars. No, this game is not a 9 out of 10. It's like a 5 at most, just because of how buggy and glitchy it is, just how it's so derivative. But if you're going to be a derivative, if you're going to knock off all the stuff off all these other games, you better do it right. Like, if you're going to sit here and steal every other game's steez and not have a single, there's nothing new or innovative in this game. And that can be fine as long as it's done right. I play a lot of Metroidvanias, a lot of them. But certain ones, we'll take Hollow Knight, for example. That is one that does it correctly. It's knocking off a lot of, a lot of those hard Metroidvania type games, but it does it right, and it makes it fun while it's doing it, and so that's why it's just a great game. Sure, it may not be wow, this is different, I've never played anything like this before, but it does it so correctly and it makes it so fun. That's a good game. Jedi the Fallen Order doesn't do that. It's just boring the whole time. I got 9 hours in, and I was in the middle of the stream, and I told him, I was like, I'm done. I cannot play this game anymore. And I said, then I uninstalled it and started playing something else. I could not go any further into Jedi the Fallen Order because the powers are your Jedi powers are so weak. Your lightsaber just feels like you're hitting people with a pool noodle, it's just boring. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to play the game anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want Jedi the Fallen Order to be out of my brain, out of my mind. I want it to be away from me. So that's why it is number 4 on my most disappointing games of 2019. So let's move on to a game that does that right. Remnant. So Remnant from the Ashes is number 4 on my top 5 games of 2019. This is a game that kind of steals the Dark Souls idea. It's Dark Souls with guns. So when you die, you lose your stuff. You have these bonfires that you have to sit at. The enemies are tough. The bosses are tough. You have to get good pretty much. It's Dark Souls with guns. So why is it on number 5 on my top list when Jedi was why is it number 4 on my top 5 list when Jedi was number 4 on my bottom, even though I just ripped that game apart for just stealing other game stuff? Well, see, Remnant does it correctly. The impact of your weapons feels so amazing. Every time you shoot something, it reacts. Like every shoulder shot, every leg shot, all of your weapons feel amazing. Your upgrades feel amazing. And Jedi, your upgrades didn't feel like they mattered at all to me. In Remnant, you're constantly getting better loot. You're getting better guns. You're getting better armor. And as you're doing this, you can see the numbers going up. Exploring in this game matters, just like it does in Dark Souls or something like that. The more you explore, the better loot you're gonna find. The better, the better upgrades you're gonna find. And it just felt like, nothing felt like a wet noodle. Your guns, everybody has their own style. Some people like the submachine guns better. Some people like the sniper rifles. Some people were more melee focused. And it took all that into account. You built your character in Remnant exactly how you wanted that character. You want to wear heavy armor and go? Cool. You want to wear light armor so you can dodge better? Cool. Play this game how you want to. The co-op in the game is amazing. I played through the entire game in co-op. And this game is about 30 or 40 hours long. You're going to get a lot of content out of this game. And it's like a $40 game. Like, this isn't even a AAA game. You know, this is like a $40 game that a lot of people haven't heard of. But it came out of the woodwork and blew all of our minds. And like, as soon as people saw me playing it, they went out and bought it. Like, all my friends went and bought this game. And it just, because it shows so well, it plays so well, it is something that you see this, and this is like, okay, this is doing something that I understand, but it's doing it so well that I have to try this out. I want to play this with my friends. You know, I have to play this game. And that's just something that needs to be applauded. You know, everybody always looks at these AAA games. Well, these are the games that, you know, really got the money dumped into them. This is the one we need to be focusing on. But what I like, what so far my favorite thing about this generation has been how much we're focusing on these indie games, and how a lot of them are even surpassing, you know, your EA games, your Activision games, stuff like that. It's these people who have a little bit of money but can really stretch it. Another cool thing about Remnant from the Ashes is everybody's game world is different because it's kind of randomly generated. So my worlds aren't going to be the same as your worlds. The bosses that I'm facing aren't going to be the same as the bosses that you're facing. Sometimes you have to play through this game multiple times or on multiple people's worlds to see all the bosses, to see all the loot, to see all the places. And that's really cool. That's a lot of replay value. You're really getting your money's worth out of this game. And I can't sing this game's praises enough. If you have not checked this game out yet, Remnant from the Ashes, I believe it's on everything, PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Grab some friends, play this game. You will not be disappointed. But yeah, that's why Remnant from the Ashes is number 4 on my top 5 list of 2019. So we got to go back to the bottom. This game right here was tough for me because I was like, should this be number 1? For a lot of people, this is where most people agree with me. On a lot of lists, this is going to be their number 1. But number 3 on my bottom 5 of 2019 is Anthem. This game is just disappointing all the way around. The reason it's not higher up is because, or the reason, you know, it's not number 1 for me, is because I feel like BioWare has made a lot of mistakes here lately. Again, this is a BioWare game. They're the people who made Dragon Age. They made the Mass Effect games. You know, they're a great studio. KOTOR, you know, Knights of the Old Republic or whatever, that Star Wars game that came out a long time ago. Like, this is an amazing studio. They made some of my favorite games of all time. I mean, they're amazing. Most of the stuff they do, they're always on the right track. Except for the last Mass Effect game. That thing was a huge bummer. It was just broken, but it was a broken, buggy mess. Nobody liked it. And so then we have Anthem coming out. It's a game that might be good, might not, but hasn't really been proven. Then they put this beta out, and everybody was like, this can't be all that's in this game. I played it, the beta, and I was like, okay, I feel like this game is probably just going to be bad because there's just not much to it, and the stuff that's here just isn't that good. But other people, the BioWare lovers, were like, no, this is a very small portion. Anthem's gonna be good. Don't worry. They're gonna turn this around. Anthem's gonna be great. Comes out, everybody hated it. I mean, go and look at any review, go and look at any video, go and look at any stream. Nobody's talking about Anthem anymore which is a big deal for BioWare, because their games are always talked about. Dragon Age, you know, people still talk about Mass Effect. Everybody's wearing Mass Effect hoodies and stuff like that. Nobody's talking about Anthem. Nobody cares about Anthem. It was like Destiny when it first came out, you know, it was kind of meh, but it got turned around. Anthem when it came out is meh or worse, still hasn't got turned around. They don't know what to do with this game. BioWare truly doesn't. They shit the bed so hard on Anthem that I don't know if there's a way for them to turn it around. You know, there have been games in history like Final Fantasy XIV. It was an MMO that came out, everybody hated it. They turned it around, they rebranded it, now it's one of the best MMOs out there. Same thing with Destiny. You know, there's a lot of games that came out really bad. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Everybody hated that 2 years ago. I've been playing it here lately. They've turned Battlefront 2 around. It's a great game now. It's fantastic. That's also an EA game. Anthem, an EA game. So maybe it'll take them 2 years to turn it around, but for 2019, Anthem is one of the most disappointing games. Everybody was excited when they played it because it looks like I'm Iron Man flying around. I got all these guns. My suit is so cool. I can do all kinds of different things with it. My buddy who I played Hunt Showdown with, like, he got the game and he's like, dude, this is gonna be our new game. Like, Anthem is about to be it. He played it for like maybe 10 hours and was like, yo, Anthem ain't it. Went back to Hunt. Everybody who tried was just so disappointed with it. The enemy variety, the mission variety, like the story was boring. Like there truly is no redeeming factor about Anthem. Pretty much everything on my list at least has some redeeming quality, but Anthem doesn't. I guess it feels cool to fly sometimes, and the shooting isn't the worst thing that I've ever came across. It just is so boring. Like $60, what a joke, EA. What a joke. I can't believe you put this out. I truly can't believe you put this out and expected people to like it. You charged $60 or more for this game. This is a BioWare game, and you just shit the bed and you tried to make us eat it. You tried to make us eat your poo-poo platter, but nobody would. Absolutely, like, no. We're not just gonna stick with you just because it's a BioWare game. Like, there's too much ill will towards you, man. Like, yeah, you've been on my list twice already. Like, you just suck. You guys really have to turn it around. I am excited to see where Anthem is gonna go, because they did say, hey, we're sticking by this game. We're sticking by it. We're gonna really turn things around. You guys will see. We'll see. Maybe 2021 will be the year for Anthem, and it'll be on my top 5 list or something like that. But man, good lord. I mean, Anthem's not even like a good bad to where, like, if you find it for $5 you should buy it. It's just too boring. Like, truly, it's just so boring that there's no point. And so it should, I don't know. I just have no idea of how they could fix it. I have no idea how you can fix Anthem. So I don't want to say leave it in 2019, but also I just want to say leave it in 2019. The PS5 and the next Xbox is coming out. PC's doing a lot of new stuff. Just leave. It didn't work. We don't have to fix everything. Leave Anthem behind. BioWare, go on to something new. You're supposed to be working on the next Dragon Age. Focus on Dragon Age. Don't just let Anthem be. That's 60. The people who spent $60 on that, charge it to the game. Sorry it sucked. Let it go. It's just, let it go. I don't even want to talk about Anthem anymore. I honestly pushed it out of my mind until I was making my it almost didn't even make this list because I had pushed it out of my mind so far. I forgot it even came out this year. Like, I had to be like, oh damn, Anthem came out this year, and I didn't even want to put it on my list because it's just so boring to even talk about. But yeah, so that is why number 3 on my bottom 5 disappointing games of 2019. Top 5 disappointing, bottom 5, I don't know how I'm gonna phrase it yet. But anyways, number 3 for worst games of 2019 is Anthem. So let's move back to the top. My third favorite game of 2019 is a game called A Short Hike. This is a game that rips off so many other games. This game rips off Zelda Breath of the Wild. It rips off Animal Crossing. It rips off it kind of rips off Metroidvania type games. The game is 2 hours long, so it's super short. So I'm saying all this bad stuff about it. Why is it number 3 on my top 5? It was honestly almost higher. I almost had it at number 2. I loved this game so much. So A Short Hike is about this bird that is trying to make it to the top of a mountain. You're on this little island and you're trying to make it to the top of this mountain because you need some cell phone reception in order to talk to your mom. And you don't know really why you need to talk to your mom so bad. At the end of the game, you will find out. Again, it's 2 hours long, so I don't want to get too deep because I don't want to spoil it, because I think that everybody watching this should play A Short Hike. It's like $7. I think it's like $7 on Steam. It's not out on Switch yet. I don't think it's on PS4. I think the only place you can really get it is on Steam, so that's kind of a bummer. But the look at the game. The graphics are good. I actually really enjoy the graphics, but they're not going to tax your hardware. So if you've got any kind of computer at all, you can run this game, and I highly recommend you do. I mean, $7 just it's a steal. So you're this bird, and the main crux of the game is climbing, gliding, and like your upgrades are things like golden feathers that like lets you climb farther, that lets you glide farther, stuff like that, or flap. I'm sorry. For each flap, you're pressing A to flap to go up. You have to use a golden feather. And so like it sounds like there's not much to it, but it's the characters that you're meeting along the way that's like Animal Crossing. Every character is unique, and they all have their own thing that's going on the island. Like you meet this painter who is trying to make the best painting that they can for this art show. So you keep seeing them at different locations, and they're just so unhappy with their art. And you see this one person who's collecting shells to make this necklace. You're finding there's places to fish. There's like all this stuff that you can do in this game, and playing it is so fun. The climbing feels great. The gliding feels great. As you're gliding, you can dip, and then you can soar to make you go faster. And the story is just so good. Like some people might be getting tired of this type of stuff, but for me, it's a bird who's probably in their 20s or something like that, maybe early or late teens, that just feels like they're not going anywhere in life. They don't feel like they're really accomplishing anything. And for me, I really understand that. So it resonated with me. And like, so the whole way you are accomplishing something. You're able to make it further and further up this mountain. The more gold feathers you're getting, the farther up you can go. And the last little bit is kind of tough if you don't have a lot of feathers, because you're starting to get into the snow, and then like it's making it harder to climb and like all this other stuff. And it's just such a fantastic world to explore. The gameplay feels so good. The characters are just some of the best written characters I've interacted with in such a long time. The ending is phenomenal, and what you do, right? Like, I wish that there's so much that I want to say about this game that I can't, because I truly do not want to spoil this game for you guys. You're not losing anything. $7, 2 hours, 3 hours out of your life. Please do yourself a favor. Check out A Short Hike. Again, it's on Steam. I hope it comes to Switch. It'd be a great Switch game. And just this is a game that take your time with it. Don't sit here and rush towards making it to the top of this mountain. Don't speedrun this game your first time through. Make sure you're finding all the characters. Make sure you're following their through lines for the characters. Make sure you're really soaking it up and taking it in, and you know what? And enjoy your accomplishments that you're doing. Like, you're like, okay, I've made it a little bit further. I'm doing something. Like, I made it up here when I couldn't make it up here before. Let's go back down and explore some more, because I know I can make it back up here, no problem now. Like, it's so good. It truly is. So please do yourself a favor and check out A Short Hike. There's a reason it's number 3 on my top 5 games of 2019. Please check out A Short Hike for me. Do me a personal favor. So, next up on our list, we're going to be moving back to our bottom 5. Boy, so now we're really getting into the nitty gritty. We're down to the last 2 of our bottom 5. This one is another one that almost didn't make my list, even though it's so high on the list. Just because I truly didn't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to think about this game anymore. I don't want to talk about it. I hated it so much. I played it for 3 hours and was like, after 3 hours of just bashing my brain, like after knocking my head against the wall so many times, I uninstalled it, which I normally don't do with games. I don't care how tough a game is. I don't care how bored I am with a game. I'm gonna understand this game, and I'm gonna get my money's worth out of this game before I just totally delete it and never think about it again. Except for this game. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey, whatever it's called. It's a game where you're a monkey and you're trying to evolve. It's horrible. It's absolutely deplorable. It's on PC, and I think it's either out on PS4 or it might be coming to PS4 and Xbox One. This is actually made by the person who did the first 2 Assassin's Creed games. I didn't love Assassin's Creed 1, but Assassin's Creed 2 was very good. So the reason it's a disappointment for me is because I haven't seen anything from him in a long time, and so I was like, oh, this is a new game. Let's check out and see what it is. It's a survival game. If you know me, I play a lot of survival games, like your Rust, your Arks, your Don't Starve. Like if it's a survival game, I'm gonna try it. This is that type of game where you are a monkey, you have a colony of monkeys, and you're trying to evolve them. You're finding sticks to make sharp sticks. You're finding twigs and stuff to make little shelters and like beds, and you're having to learn and evolve and breed monkeys and make baby monkeys, and it just does it so poorly. The controls are so bad. You're trying to jump and swing through these trees, but half the time your monkey doesn't grab onto the tree. And then you're trying to go up and talk to this monkey so that you can bring it back to your little monkey hovel. But the same button to talk is the same button that you press to like drop down. Oh, so my monkey just kept dropping down and would not talk to this other monkey. And then you find out, so it's called the Humankind, like I said, the Humankind Odyssey. So I thought I was gonna evolve this monkey all the way up to be a human. No, you pretty much just stay a monkey this whole time, except near the end of the game you're able to walk upright and stuff like that. You get the best weapon of the game at the very beginning. As soon as you figure out how to make a sharp stick, that's all you're using. You eventually make bone clubs and stuff like that, but no, sharp stick is always the best thing. That's not how survival games are supposed to work. I'm supposed to make something shitty like a stone axe, and then by the end of it I have an iron axe, a fiery iron axe, like I'm supposed to get way like better loot. I don't want the first thing that I get in the game to be the last thing that I'm using. So what you're pretty much doing is learning how to walk upright and learning what berries you should eat and learning how to heal yourself, and you're trying to make it out of the jungle out to this stupid desert area, and it's just so boring, and it's like the same four enemies over and over. I think there's like a snake, a boar, a jaguar, and a crocodile or something like that. It's like so you're fighting the same enemies over and over. You're fighting them with the same weapons over and over. You're just doing the same thing over and over, and it's so boring. And if all your monkeys die, you lose everything. So you then have to start all the way from scratch, which means you have to go and teach your monkeys how to drink again. You have to teach them how to eat again. You have to teach them how to breed again. You have to do this all over again. If you lose all your monkeys, oh my god, it's so bad. It's bad, and it's tough, but it being tough doesn't make it, good or anything like that. Like it's just tough, and it's hard to get better because you're not getting better equipment. It's not like you ever start learning to work with like steel and stuff like that. You're like, fine, you're banging these rocks together, and like, oh, now I have this sharp rock that I can quickly make a spear with quicker, but this spear still takes forever to make. Even once I find the thing that is the absolute best at making spears, it's still going to take me a very long time to make these spears. So now I got all these monkeys following me around, and they're all carrying spears, and I have to keep a baby monkey on my chest and a baby monkey on my back so that I get experience faster. And it's bad. It's bad. Please don't buy Ancestors, especially if you're going into this thinking that, okay, it's going to be cool to see this, that I'm going to make it from a monkey to a Neanderthal, or I don't know, to Homo sapien. That's not what you're going to do. You're going to stay a monkey pretty much the whole time. You're going to look a little different. You're going to walk taller. You're going to be a little taller. You're going to go from a regular monkey to a tall walking monkey, but that's it. You're never going to be making cool shit. You're never going to be making houses. It's so boring, and it was like $40. I wasted $40 on this game. I didn't even find it on sale or anything. I spent $40 on this game because I thought it was going to be amazing, and it was just so bad. It was just like, why did you make this game? You didn't have to make this game. Or if you did, you could have made it better, but you didn't. You just shit all over my face with this game. Like, that's all it is. It's just monkeys throwing shit at each other, but you can't even do that. You know what? You're a monkey that doesn't throw shit. Like, that should be my projectile weapon. Ugh. Ancestors, the Humankind. Okay, I'm talking about it right here. This is another game don't ask me about. I don't want to talk about it. That is it. That is all I'm ever going to talk about Ancestors again. I don't want to have a conversation about it. If you're talking down in the comments below, you know, hey, this is my favorite game. This is my worst game of 2019. If you're talking about Ancestors, I'm not going to talk to you because I don't want to talk about this game anymore. That's how much I hate it. I never want to speak of this game again. Ancestors, Humankind Odyssey. You are number 2 on my 5 worst games of 2019. You're lucky you didn't get number 1. I hate you. I don't ever want to talk about you again. Let's move on. So now let's move back to the top. We're at number 2. Number 2, top 5 games of 2019. I'll get it down eventually. Actually, I'm almost at the end, so I probably won't. But anyways, my second favorite game of 2019 is Apex Legends. Apex Legends is a battle royale that you can only play in squads. You can't do solos or duos, and it's pretty much just the same map over and over again. They're very slow to update this game. Every time they update it, they mess up a lot of my favorite guns. So why is it at number 2? Because it's a lot of fun. Like, I mean, this is a game that, because it's in squads, because it's squads only, you're only going to survive if you play as a team. A lot of times when you're playing with randos, you'll have a gung-ho guy who just runs off and does his own thing, and that means you're going to lose for 9 times out of 10, because now it's 2 of you versus, squads of 3. You better be really good if you're going to win all those fights. But this is a game that it has evolved over 2019. When it first came out, it was good, but by the end of 2019, it was great. And that's something that it should be applauded. It's a free game, so when it came out, there was nothing for you to pay for. You do have to pay for the new characters and stuff like that, but other than that, you can play this game for free. My big problem with it is that it doesn't have crossplay. That's probably my biggest issue with Apex, is no crossplay. Once they get that in there, I'll be I think it'll be the perfect game. Because for me, I have to jump back and forth between PC and PS4 because trying to play with friends. Fortnite lets you do crossplay. But Apex has really gotten it down to where the guns feel much better than they do in Fortnite. They invented the ping system so that if I see a gun, I can ping it for my friend. They'll know exactly where it is. So that it's not like, hey, I left a gun right here. Where? Well, I left it here. You're trying to explain. Or even if you're not talking to them, you don't have your mic on or anything. I'm pinging this. I can pull up my menu. I see that my friends don't have any body armor. I'm pinging that body armor for them. I see that they have, they don't have a backpack. I'm pinging the backpack for them. I see that there's an enemy way off there. I can ping the enemy and show them where they were. I see a door that was open that none of us opened. So I can ping that door and say, hey, enemies went through here, without ever having to speak a word. And it's also, in all these games, you're jumping out of a plane or a battle bus or whatever. And this one, when you jump, you have one person who chooses. So in Fortnite, when you're in squads, everybody chooses where they want to jump. In Apex, you all have to jump. There's a jump master, so you all have to jump together. It is a game that is solely focused on working as a team. And most of the time, I think that really does work. You're going to have people that want to run off and do their own thing. I get that. It happens. But for the most part, I think this game really does it well of making you work as a team. And it makes it to where other people are like, okay, well, I kind of have to do this. I like this game. So I'll be a good teammate. Sometimes you get people who do just like to run off and do things. Hell, I do that sometimes, actually, where I just like to run off and just see what I can do on my own and totally screw the rest of my team over. Sometimes that's funny. Sometimes it's my own friends who I'm sitting there talking with in Discord, and they're just yelling at me oh my god, because I use this character named Anthem who's super fast, so I'm constantly just outrunning all my other people. But yeah, Apex, it's you've got your characters, like your Overwatch. It's like Overwatch Battle Royale. And it's a lot of fun. This game is also made by Respawn, the people who made Jedi The Fallen Order. So they put out a really good game this year and a really mediocre game this year. Hey, Respawn, you might actually just want to stick with multiplayer games. You tried your single player game, not very good. Titanfall 2 had a great single player. Jedi The Fallen Order, not very good. Stick with Apex. Put all your manpower behind Apex. And hey, fix the light weapons. You know that you nerfed it too much. You nerfed light ammo way too much. You gotta put that damage back up there, baby. Come on, man, and make it crossplay. I'm tired of buying characters on my PC and my PS4 and leveling up 2 battle passes. I won't do it anymore. That's my 2020 resolution. Only leveling up 1 battle pass for Apex. Not sitting here buying 2 all the time or 2 sets of characters, because they're just getting too much money out of me. It's a good game though. Yeah, Apex. Number 2 on my top games of 2019. So this brings us to the end of our lists. Nobody's going to agree with me for my number one most disappointing game of 2019. Nobody's going to agree with me, and that's okay. Control. I think by this point everybody has played Control, heard of Control, seen all the different websites that put Control as their number 1 game of the year. I think those people are crazy. I truly do not see why people are hyping this game as much as they are. Honestly, this is not me trying to be a contrarian. I just don't understand it. Everybody's talking about how new and innovative this is. There's nothing new nor innovative about this game. It just reminds me of something like an X-Files mixed with SCP. Like, people are freaking out because they're like, oh, there's just this regular old stuff, like, you know, this refrigerator that does all this weird stuff. Like, that's just an SCP. This has been done before. Like, nothing in this game is new or like innovative, which is fine. I've talked about other games that do that, and they're on the top of my list, but the problem is this one does it poorly. This one does a thing to where, like in Dark Souls, if you die, you have to go back to a checkpoint, right? You have to do that in Control. The only checkpointings in this game is at these actual save spots. But normally, even in Dark Souls, at your save spot where you rest up, you get healing items. In Control, there is no healing items. And there is no health regeneration. So if I accidentally fall off a ledge, half my health is gone the only way to get health back in this game is to go and to kill people. You kill them, and then you can get health orbs from them. Or you're just gonna, and every time you die something, you have to go all the way back to this checkpoint, and still no healing. Why would you not put healing options in the game? You have people that say, well, you just got to get good. Get good how? Like, I don't know that there's about to be this dude that just jumps out of nowhere and kills me. So now I have to run all the way back there. And like, these checkpoints are far from where you are, right? And so this game, you have force powers. You know, you have your force push. You can pick up stuff and throw it at people. You can make a shield. You have all these different type of gun combinations you can use. And so with a game like that, you want your checkpointing to be really good so that, okay, well, I went in and shot these people, that didn't work. So now I'm going to go in here and I want to try out my new moves. I want to try out my new guns. I want to try out new combos. Does this work with this? Does this work with this? But I know that I'm going to go in here and I can't get any of my health back, and I'm going to have to go all the way back to the checkpoint. So I'm just going to do the same thing every time that I know that works. I'm going to stand behind this wall. I'm going to rip chunks out of it. I'm going to throw it at people, and I'm going to turn and I'm going to go around the corner and shoot them with my gun, you know, my regular pistol that I know does damage. I'm going to hide, pull, throw, shoot. Like over and over and over, because this is a game that it doesn't reward you for experimenting. In fact, it slaps you on the hand for experimenting. Like a game like this that has so many different things that you can do, it should want you to be like, hey, why don't you try this power with this gun combination against this person? But that's not what it does. It's like, hey, you can try something different if you want, but we're not going to give you any health back. And if you die, you're going to have to go all the way back here. And then you're just going to have to run all the way back. It just sucks. And the story is not even that good. Like, I don't even know what's going on. This is another game that I put like 9 or 10 hours in. I don't know what's going on with the story. Mainly because I was so frustrated with the combat. And a lot of it is just reading. It's just walls and walls of text that you're having to read. And I'm like, why? I don't want to just sit here and read walls and walls of text. I'm having to find these documents everywhere, and it's like, okay, but you got to read this document to know that this is what you have to do with this puzzle. So like, you got these people that the voice acting is actually really cool. The cutscenes are kind of cool. So why not just do more of that? Why am I having to find all these documents and like all this stuff to read? That's like super boring and like slowing everything down to a halt, like grinding my forward momentum to a halt at every turn. Like, some of the enemy designs are cool, but I don't want to sit here and learn all these enemies' traits because I know that every time I die to them, I'm gonna have to go back to this checkpoint to move back forward. Like, I truly don't understand why they made it to where you can't recover any health unless you kill something. That, like, no game does that. Even difficult games like your Sekiros, you know, your Dark Souls, your Bloodborns, no game does that. No game does it to where you can't get your health back. Like, that is just so stupid. That is like, and so then it's kind of making it to where it's like falsely difficult because the game itself isn't difficult. In fact, the AI is pretty stupid. I broke I broke the AI a couple times on stream where there's the rocket launchers. If you get too close to the rocket launching enemy, they just keep running back and forth because they don't know what to do because the AI pathing in this game is so bad. Like, the AI is just, it's not like you're fighting these enemies that are learning your combat maneuvers and are using it against you and like getting smarter. No, they pretty much just run at you, hide behind something, and shoot. And then sometimes if you get too close, their AI pathing breaks, so they just run back and forth. Like, so to make they were like, okay, well, this game's a little too easy, so now we just need to take out the healing. Like, all healing, yeah, you can only get healing if you kill something. Well, if I kill something, does it give me all my health back? No, it's only going to give you this much. But we're going to give you upgrades. If you put this on you, you get 3% more healing. Seriously, 3% more healing. So, like, I had it up to where I was getting 15% more healing. This upgrade that I got for my gun, I can put it on here. Okay, so now your shotgun is going to shoot 2 more pellets. It was literally like your projectiles now go from whatever to like 2 to 3 more. Like, the incremental upgrades are so boring. So I'm like, no, like, everybody, the people that like it, I heard them talk about in podcasts, was like, yeah, the upgrades in this game truly don't matter. Like, so why did you even have it in the game? It's just, you're wasting my time, you're wasting your time. Like, did you not know how to make, I know you didn't know how to make good AI, so now you also don't know how to make the upgrades matter? Like, every step of the way, this game is just like, and like the story, some people were like, oh, the story was so good, but at the ending of it, they did kind of shit the bed because you're looking for your brother the whole time, and then at the end, it's like they kind of forgot about that whole thing. But anyways, like, this is cool. It's just like, this is another game that's made by a studio. They originally made Max Payne, good games. They made Alan Wake, good game. Then they made something called Quantum Break, terrible. And it's like, well, this is better than Quantum Break, and we can see that this could have been a good game, so we like certain aspects of it, so we're gonna give it Game of the Year, or we're gonna rate it high. Like, we don't hold games to a high enough standard nowadays. We truly don't. We're like, you got some of it right, so you know what, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It looks good. And dude, this game broke for me so many times because I use an RTX card, so I had DirectX 12 on, where you get, you know, your volumetric lighting and stuff like that. Your ray tracing constantly breaks. I was looking at other people. I was like, hey, is this just my graphics card? No. Multiple people who wanted to use their ray tracing, it constantly broke the game. You'd have to reload you'd have to like just fiddle with the graphics engine. It's just, Control, you should have been better. I have a friend who begged me to play it. They played through the whole thing. They loved it. It's one of their best games of the year. It's one of their favorite games of the year. I'm glad they like it. But, like, this is a game that's just so easy to tear apart. It should have had healing. You should have had health items, or at least regenerative health. The AI pathing was just terrible. There's no arguing there. Like, the AI is not very good. The puzzles for this game, some of the puzzles don't even stick with their own law. So there was this one where it's like the rule of 3. So you have to pull this lampshade thing 3 times. But then when you get into the place, you have to ring this bell. So I'm like, okay, I got to ring it 3 times. Nope, you ring it twice. Like, it's just, it's hard to explain unless you play the game, but you'll play it and you'll see that, like, well, okay, the stuff that you said this is how this works, it doesn't work this way. Why? It's just because, like, they couldn't figure out how to make a really good puzzle. Some of it was good, some of it not. Like, there was just nothing in the 9 or 10 hours that I played this game that made me want to keep going. Every once in a while I'd see something that was like, okay, that's cool, so I'd play a little bit longer, and then I'd just keep having to backtrack. I'd keep these new enemies that just aren't that fun to play against. None of my new weapons I cared about. The sniper rifle that I thought was going to be cool, the charge gun or whatever, you have to charge every shot before you shoot it, and then, like, the upgrades that you get doesn't make it charge any faster. It's just such a boring game. Like, Control is so boring. You rip off so many other games. It's another one of these Metroidvanias that rip off, like, Dark Souls and, like, Metroid and all this stuff, and you just do it so poorly. Like, there are other games that do it correctly. You just do it right, or don't do it at all. Like, come up with something. Every game doesn't need to be Dark Souls. Every game doesn't need to be a Metroidvania. Every game doesn't need to be an RPG where you're leveling stuff up. If you don't know how to do it correctly, don't do it. Just make it a straightforward game. Just, if you have a story that you want to tell me the story. Don't try to obfuscate it by hiding it behind all these papers and shit that I'm having to read, because I'm not gonna. It slows me down too much. I want to move this shit along. Like, I don't want to sit here and spend 100 hours on your game that I'm not having fun with. I'm just not gonna do it. So Control is number one with a bullet for me for most disappointing game of the year. It's a game that absolutely should have been my game of the year. I went into this game thinking this is gonna be my game of the year, and it was my most disappointing, just because, like, it's not even like I hated it that much. I hated Ancestors more than I hated this game, but I really had no thought toward Ancestors. I didn't think it was going to be an amazing game. Control, I thought I'd be coming out of here like, because it's like a spooky game that, like I said, it's like X-Files and stuff like that. It ticks all my boxes, so I'm right there with you. But you made such a piss poor game. The gameplay isn't fun. The shooting isn't fun. The story is too convoluted. Like, you just fucked it up every step of the way, Remedy. You truly fucked it up every step of the way, to where, like, a lot of people is giving you a pass because your last game was so bad. You're a great developer, and your last game was so bad that they're just like, they're holding on to anything at this point. Honestly, that's the only reason people love Control, and or even people that didn't know anything about their past games. The people that love Control, like my buddy who loved it, he doesn't know what an SCP is. He doesn't know that all this shit is really derivative, that it's all been done 1,000 times before. And it's just, he didn't play any of the Dark Souls games or anything like that. It's just like, I've done this many times, and if I'm going to continue to do it, it's got to be correct. It's got to be good. If you're gonna put this same shit on my plate, you better put some whipped cream on this shit before I eat it again. Not just fucking microwave it and blow it up and put it in front of my face and expect me to re-eat it, because I'm not going to. Control, no thank you. Anyways, Control, number one most disappointing game of 2019. So that moves us on to our final game that we're going to talk about. My number one game of 2019. Anybody who watches me stream over on Twitch, or anybody who, messes with me in my Discord or talks to me, already knows what this game is. There's a lot of this game. I don't think I've seen it win any Game of the Year awards. Maybe I just missed some, because most people really shit on this game. It's called Death Stranding. Yeah, I know you've already heard of this. Everybody's heard of Death Stranding. You may have already gave this a shot and you hated it. And that's fine. I don't think that Death Stranding is going to be for everybody. I truly don't. My one problem about everybody's complaint is they complain about the storyline, like how I complain that Control is too convoluted. Death Stranding is not convoluted. If anything, he over explains what the story is. Within the first 2 hours, you're going to understand that there's a timefall rain. You're going to understand what's going on in this world. You may not understand why each of these things work, but you will by the end of the game. I mean, it's just the storyline for this game. This is a Hideo Kojima game. This is the dude who made Metal Gear Solid. It's a PS4 exclusive, and it is one of my favorite games that I have ever played. I'm not kidding. I don't spend a lot of time on games anymore. I truly don't. I don't have time for it. I stream and play a variety of games. So most games I only get halfway through before I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Death Stranding, I played from beginning to end. I could not put it down. This is actually what made me stream consistently. Before, I had no set schedule, but Death Stranding, I was streaming every night because I had to get farther. I could not put Death Stranding down. One of the reasons being is it's just such a relaxing exploration game. There's not a lot of combat. I mean, there is some, and later on in the game, it kind of gets a little combat heavy, but it definitely gives you the tools that you're working with is pretty cool. The world that you're in is nothing that I've personally ever seen before. Um, this game is not like Remnant. It's not like Apex or a Short Hike. It's not like, Jedi the Fallen Order or Control. There's nothing derivative about this game at all. You have never in your life played a game like Death Stranding. You truly haven't, and that's why a lot of people hate it, because it's mostly you're walking to places and delivering. So that is the main crux of the game. I get a package. I'm a UPS man, and I'm traveling somewhere else to put it in. But the thing that makes this game so amazing is the terrain matters. You will be constantly tripping, and like whenever you make it somewhere, you are overcoming so many obstacles. But you can build in this game. You're learning to build pathways. You're learning to build roads. You're learning to make things to where you can balance your backpack, because everything that you have on your back weighs something. And so that's what is making you tip over, and you want to make sure that you're getting there and your package is still in good condition. So you're having to carry the spray with you. You're putting ladders up so that you can climb places. This is an open world game where the open world actually matters, which is like it is my favorite open world since Zelda Breath of the Wild. Not kidding. Because it just feels so unique. The stuff that you're doing in this game is stuff that you've never done before. You truly haven't. In no game does the terrain matter this much. And as you go, it's not like you're feeling more powerful as you go, but you're feeling that you're better equipped to take care of stuff. Later on, you'll be making zip lines, so like now I can just get through these mountains like they're nothing. But the biggest thing about this game is the online aspect. You never see anybody else, but you do see the stuff that they make. You can, and likes is pretty much your XP in this game. So I use this dude's ladder to get up this hill. So I'm sitting here spamming this guy with likes. He's going to level up from those likes. We're making roads. I put a bunch of ceramic and stuff in this road. Somebody else puts the rest of it in here. So it takes ingredients to make stuff. So like everybody's coming together to put these ingredients in these to make these roads. And so now we're all having an easier time getting around, driving our trucks, driving our motorcycles on these roads. There's so many things that makes this game amazing. I really have been wanting to make a video about it, of why I think Death Stranding is such a fantastic game. I just haven't got around to it yet. The reason being is because the online aspect, it feels like a community. Even though you're always alone, you really feel like you're working with these other people. I can make a Stranding contract with other people. I like the stuff this dude's making. I'm making a contract with him. Now I see his stuff. I see the stuff that he's making. By the end of the game, it shows you all the people that you've worked the most with. Like there's this guy named Epic Cigarettes. I don't know him in real life, but he's a real G because I use all his stuff to make it through. The storyline is beautiful. I cried a couple times during this game. I'm not gonna lie. It's something that has never been told before. There's just too much to this game that, like, if you get this game, this is a game that you truly have to rent before you buy. Because if you don't like it, like I said before, I completely understand it. It just might not be a game for you, but for me, Death Stranding is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. It is something that after I beat Death Stranding, it was hard for me to play any other game because nothing compared to it. Like nothing gave me the same sense of awe as Death Stranding. Nothing relaxed me as much as Death Stranding. I didn't have any love for any game like I've ever had for Death Stranding. There are games that I like more than Death Stranding, but Death Stranding, it changed something in me. it opened up a door in me that was like, okay, for anything else to top Death Stranding, like you really are gonna have to bend over backwards. In fact, I think I might have liked Jedi: The Fallen Order or Control more if I hadn't played Death Stranding, because now I know games can be so much more. I can expect so much more out of my games than what was given to me with Jedi and Control. I know that you can tell a complicated story well. You can have your emails and stuff that I can read through, but I have to be interested in it before. You can't hide everything behind a written wall. You have to explain it to me. You have to have cutscenes for it. You have to have voice acting for it. Like, Death Stranding is not perfect. It has way too many cutscenes. Most of them you're going to see over and over and over, so you're constantly having to skip through them. The end of Death Stranding, how I said that it over explains, there's 30 minutes to where, like, after everything is revealed, Kojima pretty much writes all these lines where now this lady is just explaining everything that just happened because he didn't trust his player enough. He's like, well, now I need to explain everything that happened. Like, no, Kojima, I was there with you. I understood everything that you told me. I don't need to sit here in this one spot for 30 minutes as you tell me everything that you just told me and explain it to me like I'm a child. I'm not a child. I understood it. Like, I got it. So if he had cut that out, it would have been even better. But even with that in there, it's damn near a perfect game. I would give this a 10 out of 10. I would truly give Death Stranding a 10 out of 10. And it's one of the best games I've ever played. And it upsets me. It truly upsets me that a lot of people hate this game, that nobody really gives this game the chance that they need to give it. They see it, they're on the outside looking in. Oh, it's just a delivery simulator. Screw that game. Without ever touching it themselves, without ever looking any further. Like, people play it for maybe like an hour or two and then just decide they hate it because it's different. Like me, like I said before, I played 10 hours of Control and hated it. I played 9 to 10 hours of Jedi: The Fallen Order and hated it. I give these things a chance, you know what I mean? But everybody can't do that, and I completely understand. Like, especially when it's a $60 game, you don't want to waste your money. You know what I mean? You don't want to feel like you have to. If you don't like it after 2 hours, I do. I kind of get that. Like, hey, I spent the time that I needed to with this game. Though I will say that with Death Stranding, you need to spend a little bit more time. You need to get to chapter 3. That's when it opens up, and you will see why this game truly is so amazing. And I can't recommend it enough. I really love it. So then that is going to be the end. That's the top 5 and the bottom 5 games of 2019. It took me a long time to make this video. I do apologize. I wanted it out by Christmas, but as you can see here, that didn't happen. I argued with myself a lot of how I wanted to do this. I went through so many changes of my top and my bottom just because I didn't want to be a contrarian. But at the end of it, I sat down with my girlfriend and was like, hey, I need to be true to myself. I need to make this list my list. I'm not trying to speak for anybody else. I'm only trying to speak for myself. So if you agree with me, disagree with me, like, I completely understand. Just know that I come from the right space. I'm not doing this to try to get on anybody's nerves or anything like that. This is just truly how I felt. And hopefully I explained my reasoning well enough to where, like, you're with me. Either not, either with or not. And like I said, I completely understand. But yeah. So that is it. We had our bottom. Number 5 is Blair Witch. Number 4 is Jedi: The Fallen Order. Number 3 is Anthem. Number 2, Ancestors to Humankind. Number 1, worst game of 2019 for me was Control. For our top 5, we had Madan at number 5, Remnant number 4, A Short Hike at number 3, Apex Legends at number 2, and Death Stranding number 1, my favorite game of 2019. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you sticking around and checking it out. Hopefully if you haven't seen all these games on this list, you check them out. The top 5, I don't care if you check out the bottom 5, or do if you want to. Maybe you'll like them. I don't know. But definitely the one I want you to check out the most is A Short Hike. I just don't think it's much of an investment, and I think it's well worth your time. I think all the top 5 are worth your time, but definitely A Short Hike. You've got nothing to lose with that one, and I think more people should actually see that one. I think more people should get their hands on that, and that's something I'd love to hear other people's opinions on. But as far as that goes, let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite games of 2019. What games did you just not like at all, and what are you looking forward to in 2020? I do want to do a video of what games I'm looking forward to most in 2020. So give me some suggestions down below of what I should look into. If there's anything that you're looking forward to, so I can keep my eye on that as well. But yeah, guys, other than that, that's everything. If you want to keep up with me, of course, I usually stream about every day on Twitch. I'll leave a link down below. I have my own Discord, of course. I'll leave my Discord link down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I really just appreciate it. Hopefully 2020 is a great year for all of us, gaming wise and more. I'm really excited for it. It's been pretty good so far, but we shall see. But yeah, other than that, guys, I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.